And so as we come to the end of day one of the AI Summit, I want to leave you guys with some closing thoughts, okay? And for the 12,000 people who are watching us on Zoom and on Facebook, so great to have you guys here. I know it's a big deal. Some of you had to wake up early. Some of you are watching in Singapore or Hong Kong where it's super late at night. But based on your commitment, I think you're probably going to go a lot further in AI than a lot of other people. Now, we're not done yet. As we go into day 2 and day 3, we're going to go a lot deeper into AI applied to your business. Today was about overview. And I want to do a quick recap of a couple of things that hopefully stuck to you. The first is that AI is not bad. Don't believe the naysayers. Don't believe the people who are obsessed with doomsday scenarios. If you look at news today, capture your attention by generating fear. As Naveen shared, AI can actually be used to transform your health. Naveen is using it for cancer detection, to help make illness optional. Mindvalley is using AI to develop better algorithms to predict human compatibility and matching, to design customized curriculums and education based on every individual's personal goals and values and passion and who they want to be. AI is going to be a great gift for the world. Don't be like one of those people who 2,000 years ago believed that the invention of writing was going to mark the end of humanity. AI is not going to kill us. More likely than not, it is going to usher in a new level of human creativity, healthier human beings. It's going to allow us to be more deeply connected with the knowledge of the accumulated human race, but to then apply algorithms to analyze this knowledge, make sense of this knowledge, understand what makes us sick, understand what heals us, understand what can educate us better and inspire us, understand even who are other human beings that we should be connected to. And as AI comes into our workplace, what AI is going to do is it's going to take the 5-day work week and shorten it to, at first, 4.5 days, then 4, then 3.5 days, then 3. And it's not going to create lazy humans. It's going to create human beings that have so much more free time to be more human. So, my prediction is this: AI will not take away our humanity. It's actually going to give it back. It's going to create an age that is going to be so abundant that most people will have almost all of their needs met. Poverty will plummet. And what you read in the news gives you a completely skewed idea of what's happening in reality. You know, if the news was actually correct, the news would be celebrating the fact that 400 million people just came out of poverty in India in the last decade. But we don't read about these things. We don't see that human poverty is plummeting, that human health is actually accelerating, our lifespans are increasing. AI is going to just make this faster and better. So, the second key idea is this: it's about data, data, data. Most of you, most entrepreneurs, don't have a data obsession. One of the reasons I believe I was able to do well with Mindvalley is because when I was in university, I took a class on data architecture, and I got super obsessed with data. So to me, data powers everything I do. I take all the information that's in my head, I put it into Airtable, then I create algorithms where my team can pluck out this information. Now, if you think like this, as Iman said, right, data is going to be as precious as oil. The data can feed everything else. The data from the collective human race's writing samples is feeding ChatGPT. But likewise, as an Iman sample, you can take customer support data, actual exchanges between your company and customers, feed it into AI, and AI can create automated customer support. Your data is powerful. In the example I gave, I took data, which is my writing style, fed it into ChatGPT, then trained the AI to output writing just like I would. So understand the preciousness of the data, and if you are building a company, ask yourself, what data am I accumulating? Now, the third one is this: it's not all about ChatGPT. Many people are obsessed with ChatGPT, rightfully so. It's super fun, but you also want to look at other tools which are a little bit more academic or a little bit more of a workplace utility, but are supremely powerful. And as Vikintar shared, Airtable is one of those tools that you want to look at. A fourth key point, there are legalities that we still have to solve when it comes to AI, as Jasmine Telon explained to us, but these are being taken care of. And AI, as it becomes more and more a part of our life, governments and industry will catch up, and you don't have to worry about these legal things. A lot of them are going to be sorted. It's very unlikely. There's still, again, a small possibility, but it's very unlikely that anyone would get sued for generating an image on ChatGPT and on Midjourney and using it on your website, for example. So if I were you, I wouldn't worry too much about the legalities unless you're a major Fortune 500 company. In that case, don't listen to me, consult your legal department. And the fifth thing is this. We're now going to go into some of the most exciting parts of this summit. How has it been for you so far? Now, remember when I showed you the prompts and the modalities to get AI to write in your voice? We're going to go a lot deeper into that in day 2 and day 3. You're going to learn how to generate art. You're going to learn how to generate images. You're going to hear from Man and Dave, that brilliant inventor. You're going to see how I used AI on my team to take away 2 days of work a week on our article writing team. So you're going to get a lot more case studies. Mr. Grateful, Dominic Ashburn, is going to be here, and he is brilliant in his presentation. So we're going to focus on training your mindset towards AI, and then we're also going to give you the practical prompts, examples, and samples that you can use. So I'll see you tomorrow, same time, and Sunday, same time. And for those of you tuning in online, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Mindvalley. For those of you who are new to this company, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Okay. So for those of you tuning in and who want to know what's coming up, Vishen described it already. It's also available in your app, people sitting here and people back home. You'll also have this information, details about the sessions. Tomorrow we'll start again with Vishen.
I love Dublin. This is the fourth time I've come to this amazing city, and I always have an amazing amount of crack every time I'm here. I hope I used that word right. I realize the Americans who are watching this on YouTube are going to get very confused by what I just said. So I used to live in Silicon Valley, and my background is computer engineering. In 2002, I was working for a company there that was going through massive growth. We went from 0 to 100 employees in 2 years. It was growing like crazy. And I was going through a ridiculous amount of stress. So I decided to figure out what I could do because my health was deteriorating. I wasn't performing as well as I wanted to. And I Googled online, and I discovered this thing called meditation. So I flew to LA to take this class. And when I showed up, I was the only person in the class. It wasn't as popular then as it is right now, but still it changed me. I went back to work, and all sorts of like really interesting things happened. I was in technology sales. In 1 week, I doubled my sales quota. But the funny thing is, it doubled again a month later, and doubled again 2 months later. I ended up getting 3 promotions in 4 months. But other things started improving as well. My health got better. The quality of my relationships got better. All because at this point, I was doing something I wasn't doing before. I was meditating for about half an hour to 45 minutes every single day. It was a discipline I did every morning before starting work. And as I got better at it, I decided that, well, one thing really bugged me. The fact that I was the only person in that class, given how awesome it was. So I decided to start a company. I quit my job about 18 months later, started a company called Mindvalley, trained myself to be a meditation instructor. At that point, I was in New York, and I decided to launch as many companies as I could, filling that gap in our education that teaches people mindfulness, meditation, contemplative practices, how to have better relationships, nutrition, health, wellness, the stuff that we truly need to have rich lives, but the education system somehow forgot. So that's what Mindvalley does. I'm now sort of like an investor. I invest in companies that are helping us lead richer lives. Companies such as the Mindvalley Academy, which is one of the largest online universities for mindfulness and meditation, or Omvana, which is the #1 meditation app in over 30 countries. Now, I work with about 200 authors in America and around the world who teach this, but people always ask me, how do you meditate? So meditation was my biggest tool. it helped me get Mind Valley to where it is today. We've won numerous awards for being one of the happiest workplaces in the world, and a lot of it is because we practice what we preach. But meditation was really the tool I used to build up my business and not get stressed out or kill myself while doing it. And when people ask me, how do I meditate, given the sheer number of meditation apps and products that are in the Mind Valley ecosystem, I tell them this. I created my own method by taking little bits of ideas from a wide variety of different practices. What I wanted to do is really think like a hacker. I guess being a computer engineer, I tried to hack everything about myself. So I was meditating for 45 minutes a day, and I decided, I want to get the same amount of results in 15 minutes. So I started developing simple processes to identify what was it that I was experiencing, what were causing these results, and figuring out how I could make them tighter and more efficient. Now I meditate for about 15 minutes a day, but I'm getting way better results. But it's a specific style that I'm doing. Now this style doesn't come from any culture or religion, or in fact, it's been something I've been experimenting with for a decade. And Soren asked me to come here and teach something really valuable. So I thought, rather than give a speech, what I wanted to do is simply teach you this particular style, something you can take back home and try in your lives. Now, this particular method is something I call the 6-phase meditation. And it's used by some tens of thousands of people who discovered my YouTube videos or little articles I wrote about it. I freely give it away all across the web. But it's something that means a lot to me. It's how I start every single day. And I'm hoping that you might get something out of this, a particular practice you could take home and try out for yourself. So here's what it's based on, right? When I thought about how I was living my life, I realized that there were 6 particular needs, 6 things that if I could somehow figure out how to meet in my life, things would kind of work out really well. It almost seemed as if I would have the luck of the Irish, like projects would go great. My business would grow. I would be able to get optimal productivity while working under 50 hours a week. I'd have great relationships with my kids, with my family, with my friends, if I had these 6 needs met. Now, these 6 needs were basically this. 1, love and compassion. I believe all human beings need a little bit of love and compassion in their lives. Number 2, gratitude. The idea of being happy and not tying your happiness to some future goal, but being happy for what you've thus accomplished so far. Peace, being at peace with the world and the people around you. Vision. Yet, while having these initial 3 things, also having a vision for how you want your life to unfold in the future. And then, having a sense of control of how your day and your life is unfolding every single day. And finally, feeling supported, feeling as if they are, in some ways, maybe luck or invisible forces supporting you in life so that the big projects that you're setting out to do, it's going to kind of be okay. So I developed this particular style to help me get my levels, again, you can tell I'm a computer gamer, get my levels up in all of these 6 areas. As we go through life, sometimes this is what happens. We drop in certain areas. This simple 15-minute practice every single morning helps you level up in all of these areas. And it's really, really, really quick and really efficient. So again, it's called the 6-phase meditation. Before I actually teach it to you, I just want to point this out to you. There's amazing, amazing amount of science on why meditation completely transforms you. And I'm going to go through this quickly because you all know this. What happens to your brain when you meditate? Well, drops blood pressure, and it actually gives you a healthier heart. It slows down aging. I'm actually 84. Its pain-relieving properties are almost twice as effective as morphine. It reshapes your brain, slows down aging of the brain, leads to better decision-making, attention, memory, and it makes you less reactive. You're less likely to get pissed off at the guy who cuts you off in traffic. All of this from meditation, and there's more. Yet the sad fact is, with all of these benefits, why is it that right now, maybe only 20 million Americans meditate every single day? Why is it that most of us don't meditate? And I think it's because meditation sometimes gets too difficult or too complex or get lumped together with cultural or religious practices. And many of my ADD entrepreneur friends in Silicon Valley simply feel that they just can't find a way to sit still and stop thinking about something. Well, the good news about what I'm going to show you is it's not about clearing your mind, at least not the style I'm going to teach you. It's about actively engaging your mind and asking yourself a series of questions to get you to reflect on certain things. And all of it takes about 15 minutes. Now, it's something you want to do every single morning. I cannot imagine starting my day without meditating because it completely shapes what the rest of my day is going to be like. But if you really think about it, most of us don't. We've built a society and a culture where many of us forget that so much of what's going on in our head is under control. Okay, so I want you to try an experiment with me. Raise your right hand, everyone. Now I want you to take that right hand and put it around the person on your right. Okay? Do that. Okay. Now I want you, and be serious now. I want you to actually lean in, push back their hair, and smell them. Just take a deep whiff. Now, what do you smell? Someone toss out something. What are you smelling? Anyone? Say that again. Chanel, okay. Probably, this is Ireland, so probably Lucky Charms and Guinness. But the fact is, most of you aren't going to smell anything. But if you're doing this exercise 100 years ago, all of you would stink. You'd be smelly little buggers. Because 100 years ago, we did not shower every single day. Now we do. Now you get up and you shower and you put on clothes and you spray on cologne and deodorant and everything else. But it didn't work 100 years ago. You see, we've progressed as human beings in terms of our physical evolution, but not so much in terms of our mental progression, a mental evolution. So people will wake up and they would not dare skip a shower. Yet millions of people wake up every single day feeling dread or anxiety or stress or depression, and they're not trained to do anything about it. Simple practices like gratitude can elevate levels of happiness, but we don't learn that. Instead, especially in America, we learn to pop pills like Prozac. Why? Because the pharmaceutical lobby, massive. The gratitude lobby, tiny. So this practice is designed to put this in your own hands. It doesn't require you to spend a dime on anything. All of it is going to happen in your head. So, the 6-phase meditation, right? I'm going to tell you about these 6 phases and how we're going to do them. So, the first phase is compassion, followed by gratitude, forgiveness, future dreaming, visualizing the perfect day, and then the blessing. Compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, future dreaming, visualizing the perfect day, and then the blessing. It could take 10 minutes, it could take 20 minutes, depending on how deep you want to go. I often do it in just 10 minutes when I'm in a rush. Now, the first phase is compassion, and as I guide you through this, let me explain what I'm going to make you do. Okay, so compassion is expressing the intention of moving from judgment to caring, from isolation to connection, from indifference or dislike to understanding. Basically, this phase is about feeling connected to other people and having a sense of compassion towards them. This is really important. There was a really famous study done at Harvard called the Very Happy People Study, and they wanted to find out what is the thing that correlates most to happiness. Now, it wasn't warm weather or, meeting your friends at the pub after work or having amazing great sex. It was the strength of your human connections. It had a correlation of 0.7. It was the only thing that seemed to correlate really well with happiness. Yet, if you look at the way we live the life right now, we often forget that. Okay, you guys ready for another bizarre experiment? Face someone. Just face someone. Find a partner. Okay? Now at the count of 3, I want you to kiss them on the lips. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. Just seeing if you're paying attention. I want you to instead look them in the eye. Just look them in the eye. Now, if this person is a stranger, you'll immediately notice how difficult this is. Just staring someone in the eye creates this feeling of discomfort because it creates connection. But connection, we are trained, is uncomfortable sometimes, especially with a stranger. Okay, now, stop, you two, go find a room. Face here again. This particular phase is about teaching you to connect better. Okay, so we'll go deeper into it. Compassion. Now, the second phase is gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to up your levels of happiness. Science shows that it causes more energy, high emotional intelligence, forgiving attitudes, less depression, less anxiousness, more feelings of being socially connected, better sleep, fewer headaches, and all of that good stuff. It's super, super, super simple. In this phase, you're simply going to think about 3 things that you're grateful for in your personal life, 3 things in your career, and 3 things that you're grateful for about yourself. It's that last bit that I found many people forget. We often expect love to come from outside sources, but we fail to truly, truly, truly love yourself. So in this particular gratitude practice, you think about your personal life, your career, but finally, you just love yourself and think about what you're truly grateful for that makes you you. Then we go on to the third phase, which is forgiveness. This is one of the most interesting ones. I learned about this because I was at the invitation of Tony Robbins at his island in Fiji on a 9-day retreat meditating with monks, and forgiveness and getting rid of charges that come up that you have inside you towards other people whom you perceive may have wronged you is such a big part about getting yourself to operate at peak efficiency, at peak states. So science has shown that when you learn to forgive, all of us carry some sort of like charge towards someone. It could be something from years ago, or a waiter who screwed up your order this morning. But science shows that when you learn to forgive, interesting things happen. In one study, people with back pain, their back pain went away much faster. It leads to greater happiness, better heart health, all when you learn to let go of these charges. So there's a really interesting thing about how we work as human beings, right? It's called fundamental attribution error. Our primitive reptilian brains are always used to looking for danger. So we have this tendency where when, say we're in traffic and someone cuts us off, we immediately go into defensive mode and we start assuming that they're a frickin' asshole. But if we do the same thing, we assume that it's only because, well, our kid, dear little Billy boy, was late for school. Or we had to get to work because there was an important project due. See, when someone else does it, we assume it's their character. When we do it, we assume it's circumstance. And about 10 years ago, I saw this in myself. I was in San Francisco. I was walking down the street, and there was a lady in front of me who was eating an Oreo, and she dropped the wrapper on the ground. And me, being a righteous guy, picked it up, went up to her, dropped it in front of a bin directly in front of her so she would see me. And I went, "Oh, ma'am, you dropped this." And then she turned to me, and she started crying. And I turned around, and she says, "Why did you have to do that?" And I go, "I was picking up your garbage. What do you mean, why I have to do that?" And she said, "I had a massive fight with my husband this morning. My life seems to be in absolute ruins. I'm sorry I dropped that. My mind just wasn't on it. I just wanted to eat this Oreo because I needed to relieve the pain. You didn't have to be such an asshole." And I realized what I'd done. I had assumed that she was someone who didn't give a shit about the environment, was a litter bug. In fact, it was her circumstance that caused her to do it. Now, we make these judgments about people all the time. All of you are judging me right now and judging each other. The problem is, these judgments often create charges. They create false ideas about another person. We carry them with us, and these charges hold us back. That's what this phase is about. Phase 3, forgiveness. So in this phase, you're going to bring to mind someone whom you feel may have wronged you, and simply repeat this statement: "I forgive you, and I ask that you forgive me." That's simple. Now we go on to phase 4. Now, phase 4 is about future dreaming. See, so far, everything that we've spoken about is about the present. It's about happiness levels in the present. Now we go to thinking about what's happening in your life in the future. So I'm a big fan of this space. This is really what some people call creative visualization. I've experienced massive growth in my entrepreneurial career. And one of the reasons I believe I've had that is because I do this every single day. That used to be my first office in 2005. It was an absolute... I'm censoring myself because this is wisdom too. But you know what I was going to say. That's my office now. It just in 2012, it made Inc. magazine, top 10 world's coolest workplaces. But now that was our auditorium. That's where we inducted new employees in 2008. You guys are laughing, that's really mean. But that's our auditorium now. It's somewhat like this space. But every single thing I'd visualize years ahead. And somehow it would seem as if my brain would find the right answers, the right opportunities to get me to those visions. So I've always believed that as an entrepreneur, the single most important thing I did every single day was think about what I wanted to attract in my life and visualize that in that meditation. So there's something really interesting about your brain, right? We tend to overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we underestimate what we can do in 3. There was a study on this. So when I'm visualizing, and when you do this, I want you to think 3 years ahead. And whatever you see 3 years ahead, double that. Because your brain is going to underestimate what you're actually capable of. It's a really interesting phenomenon. Okay, so that's what this phase is about. You're going to visualize yourself 3 years ahead. Then we go on to the perfect day. But before that, before I tell you about the perfect day, a little bit about that visualization bit, right? In spirituality, there's this belief that you're meant to be happy and content where you are right now and not have desires or needs. I think that's rubbish. One of the greatest philosophers in the world right now, Ken Wilber, he's the greatest living philosopher alive. He wrote a famous essay called Egolessness. And in that essay, Ken said, the great saints, mystics, and sages from Moses to Christ to Padmasambhava, they were not feeble-minded milquetoast, but movers and shakers. From bullwhips in the temple to subduing entire continents. They did not live their life based on some pie-in-the-sky piety, but rattled the world to create change, and in some cases, social movements that lasted thousands of years. Think about that. I think the greatest people in the world, the most spiritual people in the world, are people like Elon Musk and Larry Page, whom we may not perceive through a traditional sense of being spiritual, but you think about the good they're doing for the world. Because they have that vision, all of us should be like that. And that's why this vision part is such an important aspect of this practice. Okay, but now, following the vision, we go on to the 5th stage, which is where, taking that vision into mind, you visualize how you'd like your perfect day today to unfold. You visualize starting your morning, alert, excited, going to work, having an amazing lunch meeting with incredible colleagues, enjoying what you eat, having great ideas come to you, perhaps going home a little bit early, being able to have time to play with your kid. Now, why does this work? Why does visualizing the perfect day work so well? Well, some people think it's because your thoughts create your reality. Maybe. Others say maybe it's the brain's reticular activating system. Maybe. But what I found is this. When you tell yourself and pretend that you can influence the outcome of your day, that you can decide that you're going to have an amazing lunch, when things go wrong, let's say the waiter screws up your order, or it comes late, or he spills water on your table, you're less likely to focus on that. And instead, you're more likely to focus on the great taste of the food, or that amazing conversation with your friend, or the beautiful ideas you were getting as you were eating. You're actually actively training your brain to ignore the negative bits and focus and embrace the positive bits. So whether you're shifting the world with your mind or not, you are shifting your level of happiness and learning to appreciate the good stuff in life. It's a powerful, powerful, powerful technique. And then we go on to the final stage, which is what we call the blessing. Okay, now in the blessing, you're simply going to assume that there's a higher power that's supporting you. Now, you could be religious, you could be an atheist, it doesn't matter. Pick whatever God you believe in, or pick whatever higher power you believe in. It could even be your future self if you're atheist. And just imagine that your vision, your perfect day, everything you want out of life is being supported. And you're going to imagine a powerful energy just flowing down into you, giving you the strength and energy to wake up and kick butt and make that day happen. That's called the blessing. Okay, now to summarize: compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, vision for your future, perfect day, and the blessing. And now what I'd like to do is actually take you through this. And don't worry if you don't capture it all now intellectually. This exercise is freely available all over the web. I'll show you the Google term to put in so you'll find it. There are infographics on it, apps on it. It's used quite widely. So I'm going to sit down, and I want you to just find a comfortable position and listen to my voice. Now, as we do this, I'm going to play a background sound, which is from one of the companies that I invested in, which is a sound designed to help you relax. It's called Om Harmonics. It will help you relax, okay? And I want you to just listen to my voice as I guide you through this. This is going to take 10 minutes, okay? Everyone ready? So let's begin. Listen to the sound of my voice. Feel yourself going into a relaxed state of mind. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. We will start this exercise with phase 1. Imagine yourself surrounded in a bubble of white light. Fill this bubble with a feeling or an energy of compassion and love. Feel yourself surrounded by this energy of love and compassion. You're now expanding this bubble to encompass everyone in this room. Feel everyone in this room surrounded by this energy of love and compassion. As you exhale, the bubble expands further and now encompasses everyone in this city block. Feel everyone in this city block feeling love and compassion. As you exhale, imagine this energy permeating the entire city. Now the country. Now see a vision of the earth in front of you. And as you exhale, see this energy encompassing the entire earth. Feel yourself connected to every living creature, plant, animal, and human being on earth. Feel an energy of love and compassion radiating from you to earth. We now go on to phase 2.